So, recent announcement made by Prime Minister the Most Honourable Andrew Holness regarding new vaccination policies to be implemented has left many anxious to know if non-voluntary jabs will be next on the agenda. We've got Executive Director of the Private Sector Organisation of Jamaica, Mega Breeze McNabb, and President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Mr. John Mahfood, helping us looking at the implications of a possible mandatory vaccination system. Good morning to you both. Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
Good morning, Neville. Morning, Simone.
Morning.
Sir John, can you hear us? I'm not hearing Mr. Mahfood. Can you hear us, sir?
I think John is muted. Yeah.
I'm not hearing you very well.
I'm hearing you now. Can you hear me now, sir?
I don't know if you can turn the volume up, but
All right.
Let's start with Amiga.
Okay, we will try.
Yep.
Amiga, let me start with your thoughts on this. Do you agree that there should be mandatory vaccination?
Yes, we do believe that the announcement by the Prime Minister is a step in the right direction to signal early enough to the population that the government is looking in the way of national mandate. I believe that we cannot continue as is with restrictions and lockdowns. It doesn't benefit anyone in the short term or the long term. Our children are suffering. People are suffering because they're not able to earn as they used to. I mean, yesterday we heard about mental health and how the pandemic is affecting same. So we have to change our trajectory at some point in time. Our vaccination levels are low. We have to ensure that there's economic recovery very quickly. And as such, where we're seeing the trends, we do believe a national vaccine mandate is important at this time.
For the folks who can't really put their finger on it, Amiga, because we don't understand, what has the fallout of a non-vaccine mandate done to the private sector organization of Jamaica? It's an umbrella group, but made up of so many different members. How are your members feeling this?
So, as you rightfully said, Simone, it's a variety of industries that the PSOJ represents. So the impact has been different across the board and from the start of the pandemic. So some industries would have been affected early, such as tourism. You know about the entertainment and creative industry that continues to be impacted 2 years in. But you do have some industries, and John can speak more to it, within the manufacturing sector, such as the food, beverage, natural health food that have been able to do well, some of those industries. But then there's the other side with the supply chain issues that they have been feeling as well, and increased costs. So the impact is varied, but the big part of it, Simone and Neville, is the impact on our small micro businesses. They have been feeling it, our street vendors. They have been going through it with the lockdowns, the restrictions, or quick service restaurants. There are certain businesses that, based on their business model, they need to be open on the weekend and they need longer opening hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir John, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Sir John?
yes, I can.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it, sir? Should there be mandatory vaccination?
Even the surveys that have taken place have indicated that 30% of the population would take the vaccine, but we're still only at 10. The problem we have is that the Ministry of Health is not doing a very good job in rolling out the vaccine initiative. And so we're in the situation where they're having to dump vaccines. And here they say that at the end of October, they will be dumping vaccines again. With the limited number of sites, I don't think they are yet in a position to have mandatory vaccines. Not enough people, not enough sites are there to cater to the people. And so they have to fix that problem. They have to have a number of new sites so that they can get to the people, and then they can talk about mandating vaccines, because even if they mandate it now, they're not going to be able to accomplish what they want to do.
But you think they should mandate it?
Eventually, if they get their act together and they are able to have the sites to vaccinate the people, it's really important. Remember, Jamaica is the back of the Caribbean in terms of vaccinations, only 10%. This is really ridiculous, and it shows you that the government is is really not moving fast enough and not doing enough for the people of Jamaica.
I wonder what you think, outside of the sites not being enough, Sir John, what else is the problem? Because I see sites have been expanded, they're going into communities, they're trying different methods. Is it the campaign? Is it the communication? What do you think the issues are? Or is it just a matter of hesitancy that we can't seem to break the back of?
Well, hesitancy is always there. It's everywhere in every country. But if you don't make the sites available to people, if you only have 2 or 3 sites in a parish, people in the rural areas and people who are not not very enthusiastic to get it are not going to travel a long distance and pay fares to get it and not know when they get it, when they get there, if they'll be able to get it. So that you have to have the sites near to the people to encourage them, to make it encouraging for them to get the vaccine. That's the biggest problem I see. We in the private sector who have access to a vaccination site at the Girl Guide Center where we have to pay to do the vaccine, have been able to get our staff to the sites. Many companies, many private sector companies are 60, 70, 80% vaccinated. That's because we have access to the sites and we make it easy for staff to get vaccinated, even without a mandate. So that's the problem we have with the government.
Mrs. Bismarck, I don't know that you're a lawyer. Maybe you are. But have you spoken to anyone to find out if this can happen? I know I read that one lawyer said there could be an argument for it, and another lawyer said you can't do it. Have you read into anything or spoken to anyone to find out how this would happen?
Definitely never. The PSOJ, in partnership with the JCC, the JMA, and other business support organizations, we did get legal counsel based on our existing labor laws and relations code. And basically what we did, we set out the guidelines for our companies that in the event they choose to actually implement workplace vaccination policies, they know the steps that they need to take. And one of that, the first step is to assess the risk for your business, and key to that is also consultation. You raised what we think the issue is with hesitancy, and one of it is trust and an understanding of the vaccines. So we need to continue to have those dialogue, educate our workforce and the general population so that they understand that taking the vaccine is safe. It's happening all over the world. Millions of people have taken this vaccine. I have taken the vaccine. I had minimal side effects, and I'm here with you today. So it is safe, and trust in us, your leaders, the ordinary people around you who are taking the vaccine.
I want to ask you how you feel about what Mr. Mahfood has said about the sites being the major issue, accessibility being the major issue. I heard one talk show host during the week saying, he's tired of hearing that argument because if people want the vaccine and it's in your community, you will get it. Is that too simplistic of you think?
No, when you look at it, convenience and access is a critical factor. And that's why we started the private sector vaccination initiative in the first place, as John mentioned, because we wanted to ensure that our employees had access to vaccination sites. It is something that has not been rolled out as we had hoped. Even at first, we did not have vaccines, but then we had the vaccines and we just were not prepared to do a national deployment program. So it has been difficult for persons to access the vaccine, the 30% that actually wants the vaccine. So the PSOJ from inception, along with the JMA and other associations, we have been advocating for private sector doctors, hospitals to be a part of the process. It should be as easy as that, because some people feel more comfortable going into a doctor's office. The doctor can explain to them immediately the benefits and why they should take it. So these doctors have been doing vaccines with kids, hospitals, they're injecting people for other types of disease or sicknesses. So we have the capacity in the private sector to deploy on a larger basis as well. And I know that the government had issued some RFQs, but today I think we've only added 11 private sector entities to that group who can do the vaccination sites, and much more is needed if we want to reach at least 65% immunity by March of next year.
All right. Thank you both very, very much this morning. Sir John, stay safe, sir. Look after yourself, and Omega, look after yourself. God bless you both.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Executive
Bye.
Director of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Omega Breeze McNabb, and President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Mr. John Mahfood. We take a break. We come back in just a little while. Stay with us, please.